What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail. Racism in boxing. So, the WBA got into it again, I used to do a boxing podcast, so kind of put it on ice or whatever, but we would talk about, on the podcast, about boxing and racism, right? So basically, a particular judge robbed another fighter, and the fighter just happened to be black, and the fighter just happened they robbed him against just happened to be non-black. Now, my actual first boxing experience that got me hooked was actually the Seoul, Korea, the Olympics, when Roy Jones got robbed. That was my actual first time watching a boxing match. When Roy Jones got robbed in Korea. I was a little bitty kid, and I was like, man, he beating him up. And they're like, okay, he won. And then the judges said no, and then Roy would leave with a towel over his head, and everybody was like, oh, this is bull. And I learned then that, what a robbery I'm done, I'm tired. What a robbery was, and how people cheat for their own, for people that look like them, because of the fighter that he fought was from Korea. But with boxing, I have this, like, it's a race war, but I have this, like, opinion about it that I really don't care that it's a race war, but I care that it's a race war in the sense of, it seems like other races of people have no problem cheating, but then they say it's okay that they're cheating. But if somebody that looks like me starts cheating too, it's kind of, you know what it is? It's basically baseball. And if anybody remember, Barry Bonds is the biggest cheater, and Barry Bonds is on steroids. That's what all the baseball players, Barry Bonds. But they skip over the fact that they made steroids legal because, the game was not as entertaining for some odd reason. So the home runs came from that. So now you deify a bunch of people who weren't that good until they got on roids, or, because of the long ball. And, that's the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire thing. Then Jose Canseco talked about it, A.R. Roger Clemens. There's a bunch of people, for the most part, a bunch of Caucasians and Hispanics, for the most part. But then when Barry Bonds said, well, everybody says, y'all doing it, get away with it, let me go ahead and get this done. Now, all of a sudden, he's the poster child for, steroids. I'm like, y'all didn't have these same morals when the people look like you. It was all entertaining. Yay! So that's what boxing is. And other groups can come in there and say all kinds of ridiculous stuff, all kinds of racist stuff. That's part of the reason why I did the Simone Biles thing about, like, it wasn't a big deal. Because Ryan Garcia stopped boxing for mental health, and Tyson Fury retired, because of mental health right after he beat Klitschko. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but it's looked at differently. You know what I'm saying? It just looked like you change the race, you change how people look at things. And for me, I'm like, this is, oh, wow. A judge is cheating for somebody against a black fighter. Who would have thunk it? It's always been like that. But the WBA has bigger fish to fry because they just making up titles. They way worse than the WBC. They just making up here's the super, here's the regular, here's the irregular, here's the interim, here's the look, man. We just give you a belt because, you got to pay these sanction fees, player. Like, and then the thing about a lot of this stuff being undeniable because it keeps happening over and over again in specific matchups. It's like, people have a vested interest in seeing people lose. And then you got to start thinking, well, are these people betting on this stuff because while they're being judges? Which I would absolutely agree with, because if these judges, I wouldn't be surprised, are betting on the fighters that they're closer to in race or the same race of, and they betting on a fight before it happens. You know, they setting their scorecard before it happens. They skewing the game before it happens, and then they getting paid for it. You know, that's what it is. And what are you going to say? See, if you do it against a non-black fighter, you know, it'll stick out like a sore thumb. You know, I can't believe you did that to them. And it's like, shut up. But if you do it to a black fighter, oh, man, they robbed him or whatever. Because, you know, that's all these promoters need, for a black fighter to get robbed. So then they can rob him after the fight is over. Like, oh, well, you maybe not as good as you used to be. And we're gonna short you on the back end from this point forward, you know, we're gonna change these contracts. And it's like, all right, man, this what we doing? No problem. So, because a lady tweets that, you know, former First Lady Obama looks like a monkey. We already know that this is how people view us as black people. We already know it interferes with their judgment as far as fairness. This is how this country was built. Boxing is no different. Boxing is no different. As a matter of fact, it's probably worse. Because now it's mano a mano and all the, you know, I'm the better man. That old Joe Louis, Max Schmeling thing happens again. And it's like, but now it's like, I'm tired of seeing the Negroes do this, so I got to vote against them. And what you're going to start to find out is, after a while, you know, these type of rivalries go on when we're not in a ring, and we're not in a room, and we're not judging. And then people go, you know what? That was wrong. But it's too late. It's too late, man. This is how y'all operate. This is how you continue to operate, you know, because you're corrupt. This is what it is. Like, share, subscribe, or die trying. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.